Hi everyone, my name is Cyprienne if you're new here. So over on my community tab or my posts, I asked everyone what they wanted. I was getting ready to release a chunky, cozy bucket hat because it's been really cold here, but everyone, well, not everyone, but most people wanted something spring. So I'm super excited to bring you this really cute pattern for a garland. It has the carrots and the bunnies. And here they are here, these little tiny carrots. And as I was making these, I think they would look super cute on a napkin ring as well. And just doing little carrots at each place setting. They're sort of the perfect size for that. I bought my bows on Amazon. I couldn't find any at our dollar store here. And honestly, they're super cute, but they're not exactly cheap. But by the time I was heading into the next town to try and find them, I gave up. So I have these little tiny ones here, and then I got another package here that had like Easter colors, because these ones here I'd actually bought for Christmas. So I'll leave those linked below just in case you have a hard time finding them. So I made a variety of colors, and I really like the white ones because I thought they looked super cute with the little colored bows on them for Easter. So I put the little girl bunnies up in their ear, and then for the boy bunnies, I did it like a boy bow tie there. And then for the other ones, I really like the little gingham bows as well. Now I have just taped mine on here, but you would want to get a hot glue gun or some sort of glue to put those on permanently, because I haven't decided exactly where I'm using these, so I didn't want to do anything permanent. So in the video, I'm going to be showing you how to make both the bunnies and the carrots, and I'll show you, if you're not familiar with the yarn brushing technique, let me grab one that you can actually see good. The yarn brushing technique, I'll show you how to do that. I actually had my son brushing these with me while we were watching Ozark. He saw me doing it and was like, oh, I want to try. So he did half the work on these bunnies, and I was very thankful for it. And we'll do the little pom-poms here. And I just made those using 2 fingers. So you don't need a mini pom-pom maker. I think it's faster just to use your fingers. Okay, so to make the bunnies, I made mine out of chunky yarn, and I had some left over. This is the Stylecraft Special, chunky, but of course, awesome scrap buster here. So just use whatever you have on hand. But I had a lot of scraps left over. This is one of the bigger balls I have left over, but a lot of scraps from when I did the Rainer beanie, which I posted a video for a few weeks ago. And then for the carrots, I have cotton yarn. These are just some leftovers. And I believe that this is the Loops and Threads cotton. So I had some orange and some green, so that's perfect. But you know, you could play around with the carrot colors. I mean, that's the great thing about being a crafter, right? You can do anything you want with the things. And also, I didn't do it because I was running out of time, but if you had little black beads, you could put beads in here. And of course, if you're good at embroidery, you could embroider a little face on. I think that would be really cute too. But when I did my bunny, my first one, he looked angry. In fact, he looked like an angry lion. So I need to practice my embroidery. Okay, so let's get started making this Easter garland. So today I am using a 5mm crochet hook. This is the Furl's new matte blush metal hook, which I will leave a link to below in case you want to check those out. And I'm using this for the crochet carrots and the crochet bunnies. So that's everything that you need to get started. As always, the pattern will be available free on my blog, and I also have a PDF version over on Etsy. So be sure to grab that soon, because as usual, I'm offering 50% off for the first few days after the pattern goes live, but I will also post a coupon code where you can get 30% off no matter when you're watching this video. So, and also before we dive into the video, I want to remind you about my freebie library over on my blog, and there's some super cute Easter tags and labels that you can download over there. So if you're gifting anything for Easter, you might want to check those out. Okay, so I'll leave a link to that as well. All right. Also, I want to let you know that the bunnies are 6¼ inches tall from the bottom to the top of the ears, and these cute little carrots measure 4½ inches from the bottom to the top. Okay, so we're going to start with the carrot because in the written pattern, that's the first one that we start with. And we're just going to put a slip knot on your hook. I would grab a stitch marker so that it's easy to find the beginning of each round. Okay, so I use the chain 2 method, 1 and 2, but of course if you know how to do the magic circle, by all means go ahead and work your magic circle. Into the first chain that you made, the second chain from the hook, so 1, 2, we're going to work 4 single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm working over my tail as I always do so that when I'm ready I can close the bottom. And also I want to let you know I didn't stuff my carrots. I didn't really feel like there was enough to stuff, so that is a personal choice if you want to. For round 2, we're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch. And we're going to put our stitch marker in. And then we're going to work 2 single crochet in the next. So we're just in here. So that's 1 and 2. And if you wanted to add some extra texture to the carrots, you could always crochet in just the back loop, and that'll give you a cute little ridge all around the carrot. So just fun to get a little bit more out of your patterns when you can. Okay, so we're going to single crochet in that next stitch. It's a little finicky, of course, because we're working into 4 stitches, which can make it a little tight. So that's 1. And then we will work 2 single crochet into the next. So mine keeps wanting to fold this way. Just adjust it so that you're working into that stitch right there. So we're going to work 2 single crochet into that stitch. So that's 1. And 2. Okay, we'll pull out our stitch marker. And then for round 3, we're just going to work a single crochet into every stitch around. So that's 1. So you should have 6 stitches at the end of round 2. Let's slide that hook back in. You can do it here or here, but for this pattern I'm putting it in here because I feel like it could loosen that stitch. And just a single crochet in each stitch around, and after round 3 you should have 6 single crochet. So much cotton yarn projects in the spring and the Easter. If you have recommendations for cotton yarn that you love working with, I am all ears because I'm not a fan, which I've told you in my last video too. Okay, so we're at the end of round 3. Let's just slide our hook out. Make sure that we have those 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we'll slide that stitch marker out because we're going to work in that stitch next. And for round 4, and for this, I'll just pull my thing tight, and I'm tucking it in. I didn't cut any of my tails. I just tucked all the yarn into the carrot, and that kind of stuffed it as I went and gave it enough body. Okay, so for round 4, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Let's slide our stitch marker back in, and then we're going to work 2 single crochet in this next stitch. Make sure you're working under both loops. 1 and 2. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet in that next stitch, 1, and another single crochet in the next. So okay, and then we're going to work 2 single crochet in that last stitch. And now we should have 8 stitches around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect. So that's your increases done for the carrot. And now all we're going to do for rounds 5, no, wait, yep, rounds 5 through 8 is just work a single crochet in every stitch around. So just make sure at the end of each round you have 8 stitches. And of course you can make the carrots longer or shorter if you want. And this is where you're going to do that between rounds 5 and 8. So I'll go off camera and finish that portion of the carrot, and then we'll come back and we will move to the top and do this little straggly thing here. Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay, so I have finished my carrot and I have 8 rounds. And then what we're going to be doing now is just joining to that next stitch and start your slip stitch. And then you're going to finish it with the green yarn. And maybe you're not using green, maybe you're using something else. Okay, so we're just going to finish that stitch, and then I'm going to knot it. And I'm going to tuck those ends into my carrot again so that I'm not trimming them away. I'm just tucking it in. Oh, I'm stuffing in the wrong yarn. All right. And then what we're going to do is just work 1 round with the green of single crochet. These are so easy to make. That, and how I did mine was I made the pieces all at once, because then you sort of get the pattern on repeat in your head and you don't even have to think about it. And then I put them all together. Okay. All right, so at the last stitch here, you're just going to fasten off, and you want to leave, oops, you want to leave a very long tail at the end, because we're going to use a yarn needle, and we're going to close this after we finish the little green part here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this next. Now you can use a piece of cardboard. It should be about 3 inches, but I didn't do that. I just wrapped it around my fingers because that's what I had in front of me. And so you're going to wrap those about 10 times around your 4 fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then what you're going to want to do, and probably should have done it first, is just cut a long piece there. Okay, so now with the spare piece, what you're going to do is just tie it around the center of the circle into a knot like this. And then just take some scissors and you're going to cut through the loops here and trim your ends. So let's trim, and then like this. And then if you have a wire brush or a comb, I used a comb at first, but then I found one of my old pet brushes. And then you're just going to brush the strands here so that they open up a bit. Now again, Christian was with me when I was doing this, and I fussed a lot over one of them, and he said, "No, Mom, like it looks too perfect. These are supposed to be the top of a carrot, so you know, leave them more straggly." So that is the input of a teenage boy, so I'm going with it. So this one I think looks cute because it is kind of straggly, and then I think this is probably one that's a little bit more perfect. So whatever you think. Okay, so then you are going to just tuck this in here like that. And I like to push it down so that this bottom is below this, so that I feel with my fingers that it goes down to about here. All right, let me grab my yarn needle and we'll just show you how to finish the carrot. So see how quick these are? And they're so cute. I am in the mood for making some napkin rings. Let me know. I was thinking about doing little chickies and little carrots on napkin rings because I think those would be really cute. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. And maybe I'll post it actually as well. So, okay, so take your yarn needle and just weave in and out between the stitches. Just like this. Excuse the phone in the background. All right. And then you're just going to pull it tight as you can. And there it is closed up. And then what I did was I just weaved back and forth so that it was super tight. Anytime I'm weaving my ends in, I try to find the place of most resistance, because if there's resistance against the stitches being made, then they're going to be more secure than working, you know, between the stitches. There's no security between the stitches. So that's a little tip for you. Okay. All right, so that's it. So that's our carrot done. Let's pull this up. And then of course you can just trim and give it one more brush if you wanted to. Okay, and that's our little carrot done. I love those. I hope you guys like them. All right, so right on to the bunny. Now the bunny is made in 5 pieces if you count the tail. So it's the same pattern for the top and the bottom. Okay, so we're ready to get started on your bunny now, and we're going to start with the head and the body. So let's go ahead and we'll make the head first. So you can start with a chain 2 or a magic circle, whichever you prefer. We'll just start with our slip knot. And then what we're going to be doing is chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then working into the first chain we made, or the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, we're going to work 8 single crochet. So go ahead and do that. And I like to work over my tail, because then once that circle is made, I can pull on that loose tail of yarn to close the circle. It's like a magic circle cheat. So we'll go ahead and just make sure that at the end of round 1, you have 8 single crochets. And you'll find the circle can be a little small, so just slide your stitches over to make room for the last few stitches. Okay, let's double check here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and one more, 8. Okay, for round 2, we're going to be doubling our stitches, and you're going to want to grab a stitch marker at this point just to make it easier to find the end of your round or the beginning of your round. So we're going to work 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to be working under both loops. It's 1 and 2. Let's slide that stitch marker in. And then continue in each stitch around, placing 2 single crochet, and you're going to be doubling your stitches, so at the end of round 2 you should have 16 stitches. Okay, so we're in our last stitch. We're going to just place 2 single crochet into that last stitch, and then you should have 16 stitches at the end of round 2. Okay, so for the head, this is where you're going to fasten off, and then just set it aside, and we'll come back and put the 2 pieces together. So the first 2 rounds of the body of the bunny are the exact same, so I'll leave a timestamp below that you can go back to for the first 2 rounds if you need to. So for the body, let's go ahead and make round 3. So for round 3, we're just going to work a single crochet in that first stitch, followed by 2 single crochet in that next stitch there. So that's 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in. Oops, I put it in the wrong one. Let's put it into the very first stitch we made. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. And that's the pattern repeat all the way around for round 3. So just make a single crochet followed by 2 single crochets in the next. So I'll go ahead and finish up round 3, and then we'll meet up again. I just finished round 3. I ended with 2 double crochet in the last stitch, and then let's just fasten off. Okay, and then you want to leave a pretty long tail of yarn because we need that to attach to the head. Okay, so I'm going to set these pieces aside for now, and then we'll do more with them later. All right, let's move on to the bunny ears, and these are so simple. For the bunny ears, we are just going to chain 10. So let's go ahead and do that. Still using the same 5mm crochet hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, to keep the bunny ears nice and clean, what we're going to be doing is working in the back bumps. If you've never done this before, don't be intimidated. It's very easy. So we're going to start in the second chain from the hook. So that's first 1 and 2, and you're going to find that little bump in the back there. Let me just make sure I'm nice and focused on that. Okay, and you're just going to work a single crochet in that bump, and you're going to do that into the first 4 chains. 2, 3, and 4. Let me show you here. So you see how that stitch is nice and tight? Now if we had worked through the chain itself, you would have had all these gaps along here. Now working in the next 3 chains, you're going to do a half double crochet into that back bump still. It's 1, 2, and 3. I pulled my stitch out, so those were a bit loose. Okay, and then in the next chain, you're going to work 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. We're just fattening the bunny ear up a little bit at the top. Now in the very last chain, you're going to work 3 half double crochet, and that's going to help bring our yarn around so we can start working in the other side of our starting chain. All right, so we're at the top of the bunny ear here, and we're just going to find that back bump. There we go. And we're at 3 half double crochet. So I'm just grabbing my yarn to keep it out of my way. That's 1, 2, and just going right back into that same stitch there. That's 3. Okay. Now pull your yarn out of the way, and we're going to start now working in the back loop. So you've got your front loop and your back loop, and what we're going to do is mirror what we just did. So you're going to put 2 half double crochet into that first stitch. It's 1 and 2, and then you're going to work 1 half double crochet into the next 3. That's 1, 2, and 3. Oops. Always working in the back loop, and then you're going to finish by working single crochets in the last 4 stitches still through that back loop. That's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and now we can fasten off. Leave a long tail again so that you can use that to attach the bunny ears to the head. So you're just going to want to make 1 more of those. Refer to the timestamps below and just click where it says bunny ears, and then it'll take you to that. Okay, so what we can do now is start on our brushing. Now I did this a number of ways, and I found that if I wove these tails in and then I was brushing over top, and especially if I had cut them off, the raw edge would pop through. So if you want to do how I did it, because of my mistakes that I learned, I brush everything first. So, apparently clean out your green yarn before you do that. So you can just spend a little time. If you've never brushed yarn before, you want to take small little strokes. Okay, and then what I found I was doing, because I did a couple of the bunnies, let me show you here. So this one I brushed all the way around, including the outside border, which is fine, but I actually found that I liked it a little bit better if I could see that border. I just thought it gave it a little bit more dimension. So when I was brushing these ones, I did try to stay away from the edges. Now what I did was I folded it over. It just gave me a little bit more, it was a little bit sturdier to brush, and I just did it. And of course I said my son was doing it too. He was using a comb and he was doing it very meticulously. So just go like this. And I like to go one direction and then the other. What you don't want to do is this, because then you can start loosening your stitches. So just little small strokes. And then of course it's totally up to you how fluffy you want it. And if it's, some of them are too long, you can trim it down. But I liked it longer. I was kind of trying to do it to the point that you couldn't really see a lot of the crochet stitch, so that it was just kind of hidden. Okay, so I'm not going to do all of this in front of you. Just keep folding, take a look, see where you need to do more, but you can see how that's starting to fluff. All right, so I will do the ears and the body, and then we'll come back and we'll put everything together. All right, so at this point we can pull, see how that's got that hole? We can pull that shut and we'll weave in our ends into the middle here before we attach the pieces together. It just makes it easier to work and you're not getting confused by which ends you should be working with. So I'll go ahead and just do those, and then we'll come back and put it all together and we'll make our little pom-pom tail. Of course you can buy the pom-poms as well. This is kind of an open stitch here, so I'm going to just try and brush that a little bit more. But yeah, you can buy the packages. So if you were making white bunnies, you could put little colored tails. That would be cute too. Okay, I'll be back in a second and we'll finish this up. Okay, I'm back and we are ready to attach. Now I find it easier to build the body before I add the ears because it gives me more to hang on to when I am attaching them. Okay, so to attach the body to the head, I like to keep one fasten off point over here and one over here, and then that way it sits nice and flat on top of each other. So I'm just going to start by going underneath those two stitches, bringing my yarn up, and then go through the next two, or this is under the next two loops at the top of the head. Okay. And then you're going to come up through the body under those two loops and into the next stitch beside. If it's too fuzzy, just move it over and go into the next stitch beside and down here. And the reason I do it that way is I didn't want to see my stitches when I was joining them. There was the first one I did, I worked just back and forth and you had up with all these lines that don't look the nicest. So you're going to come up through the back, over to that next stitch, and then underneath here. Okay, so I did that across 3 or 4 stitches. You can just decide on how it looks if you like it. Then go back in over here, and then you're going to weave in the ends. You're going to weave in this end and the end back here, and you'll find as you're doing it, it helps to secure the head a little bit more. And again, look for the path of most resistance when you're weaving in your ends. Not that these will get a lot of wear and tear. They're just probably going to be decorative somewhere, but maybe you are going to play with them or give them to a little one who's going to play with them. All right, so let's just weave those in. Oops, wrong side. Make sure you're weaving it in on the back side. And of course, you don't have to brush these at all. And in fact, as I'm looking at the back side, it might be cute to do them backwards because they have a lot of texture. It could look like fluffy. All right, and that's your body attached. Okay, so moving on to the ears, what we want to do is I made them 2 ways. So When I was making them, I was pinching the bottom of the ear closed like that. And then after I made a few, I wondered if it was actually necessary, and it is. If you want the bunny ears to stand up, then you want to do this part. Okay, so what you're going to do here is just pinch these together and take your yarn and weave it through so that you create a small stitch to hold it into place. I know it seems like it doesn't do anything, but it did. Okay, now for the top of the head, I find the middle stitch here and just place the first ear beside it. And then I go from back to front and pull that ear in, and then I go to the next stitch and go through the ear. Okay, and you can do this a few times, and you can also work further along, so just play with it till you get it positioned and feeling the way you want to. And then I'll go back in, and I just shifted my ear so I could take a stitch a little further down. Okay, and then you can just flip it over and weave in your ends, and again, weaving in the ends helps it secure a little bit more as well. Okay, we'll cut that off, and then we'll get the next ear and do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Let's take that little pinch. Okay, and then for the second ear, you're just going to find that middle stitch again, just go beside it and do the same thing as you did before. Up through that stitch, and you can shift it around as needed, and back through. Now these ears are stiff enough that all you need to do is fold them over and shape them the way you want. I have mine one standing, one curved, and you can just bend it, and it bends just fine on its own. So I'll just weave in this end, and then we'll quickly make the little pom-pom tail together, and I'll show you the easiest way to attach those. The sun is shining and the birds are out. I love it. For the bunny tail, I just used 2 fingers and I wrapped it around about 20 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's done. So just cut that off and then cut another long piece of yarn. Lay that out and then lay your little stack of yarn on top and keep it pinched in place so it doesn't unravel. It's kind of finicky, but by the time you make 20 of them, you're going to be a pro. Okay, if you had another set of little hands, that would help too. Pull that as tight as you can without breaking your yarn. And then hang on to these 2 tails. You don't want to cut these because you need those to attach it. So just like with every other pom-pom, go through and cut your strands. There's quite a bit of trimming with this method, but I couldn't figure out another one other than using my pom-pom maker, which I didn't feel like doing. You know, if you've got everything in front of you, it's easier to use. Okay, so to trim this, all I do is I just hold it, turn it, and just trim away. Okay, so that's the little tail made. And then what you want to do is find the position. Now I find when I first did it, I was tempted to do it down here, but it actually looks better if you do it up the side here a bit. So just grab your crochet hook, pull through there, and just grab one tail of yarn. Pull it through and tie it in a knot. Oops. And then grab both your ends. If you can, these are really good for working in double strands of yarn because they're so easy to thread. and then just work in there. And you are done. Other than adding on the bows, if you had other ribbon that you wanted to tie, you could just wrap it around the neck and tie it in a bow. But yeah, there you are. It's all done. I hope you guys really enjoyed that video. Keep an eye on the community posts for upcoming ideas and suggestions. And like I said, if you have come back to this channel a few times and are not yet subscribed, make sure you do, because if you're enjoying the videos, then they will show up on your feed, because it would be tragic if you missed one. Anyways, guys, I hope you love this new bunny carrot Easter garland for spring, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.